Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. It is officially the first check-in episode of the new year. We have made it just past halfway through the month of January. It's time to check in. It's time to check in and see what we've been playing. How's everybody's January been going? It's been slow going for you, Andrew?
Oh, it's just been a continuous hell of trying not to decide to just be a full-blown alcoholic at this point.
You know, getting closer and closer to tax season, right? So it's going to be even more crazy for you, right? The busy time.
Busy time is always at this point because, you know, efficiencies needed to be made, and that means some people might have to do some more work. Busy times always at this. Just the general state of the world affairs are driving me insane on a 12-hour circle.
Fair enough. And yeah, it's been tough to kind of deal with that in a general sense, but me personally, it's been a slow period in work. So it's either ignore everything that's going on in the world for my mental health or go fully insane. I haven't had as much to distract me from that kind of stuff. So I feel you there. Has the busy time, has it impacted your gaming, what you've been able to play? Like, you know, people talk about January is the universal month for backlog gaming. Things aren't really coming out. We kind of discussed earlier, and I want to re-gauge everybody's opinions on what's coming up next. That's going to be like the next real thing that's going to make you drop your backlog for something you got to play day one. And Game Informer has a handy constantly updated list of release schedule things. I always am checking in on that to make sure that our calendar is kind of as up to date as possible. And I've got to scroll to like April or beyond to find something that I'm like truly excited about. So this may be the true year of the backlog for me. But what's it been like for you? Anything?
I've been pretty consistently getting an hour or two per day into Expedition 33, which is pretty good for me. So I guess you could call that a backlog at this point. I don't know. When does something become backlog?
3 days after it's new.
Yeah. Like 6 months is probably enough.
Whenever it goes on its first legitimate sale, but you've already owned it.
That's a nice one. But like,
that's a good definition.
In reality, to me, it's like it could be almost as early as like the 2-week tailwind after, you know, any game has gone out of the main discussion. If it's not like the main thing that people are playing, if you've kind of missed that window, then yeah, it's in the backlog.
If its cultural purchase has expired, it's backlog.
Obviously, it's not as clean as that. That plenty of games have. There's
I'm hearing
each year.
Expedition 33 has no cultural impact. Just like that.
No, I think after that first, at least a month out, if people, you're starting to get into backlog territory. But
that's fair.
We're you know, past the year that it released, so definitely that.
Yeah, true.
Although you started before the new year, so
I did start before the new year. I've been playing that for.
That's a funny distinction. Yeah, so let's jump in, I guess, right there. Andrew, you've been playing Expedition 33. What's been your take? Feel free to, you know, get as much into it as you want. As much as it was my game of the year, and I would love to make Matt play it sooner than he wants to make it a podcast episode in the future, but
won't happen.
I don't foresee that actually becoming a podcast episode. I don't see that anytime in the future as a relevant thing to put on our calendar in that way. So I feel like now may be our time to talk about it. So feel free to dive into the weeds.
I am really enjoying my time with the game. It is pretty outstanding in every facet. The combat is really engaging. I know they're not really the first to do this sort of
actually Super Mario RPG,
Mario RPG, yeah.
Legend of Dragoon, which again are all the games that Sandfall has been like, yes, we were inspired by.
Yeah.
We fed all of those games into our AI generator, and this is the game that it created.
What?
you.
So like the combat is just super crisp and rewarding. I mean, it feels really good to pull off.
And that's what you get when your combat
parry.
designer was a former Sekiro speedrunner.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
He didn't hold world records, so
I actually was expecting a little bit more of a difficulty curve than I felt I've experienced so far. There was a decent amount of discourse about the parrying being really challenging, and I haven't found that to be the case for the most part. Maybe one or two moves where I just was like, okay, I'm dodging here instead, but it definitely isn't quite as challenging as I was anticipating.
I mean, you're gonna have some of those at the end game if like the optional content is pretty hard, with an exception of if you have been, doing all the side content and are getting into the weeds of build crafting and can set a turn up to have Mael do like 1 billion damage, then yeah, you can steamroll through anything and even engage with pairing on that level. I always found that if there was something that was giving me a little bit of trouble, it was dodge first to get a feel for its rhythm, and then go for parries after that. And you can pretty much go through the whole thing without taking damage, but it's not as tricky. Have you gone back and done the optional Golgra fight at Gestural Village?
No, I haven't gone back and done that one where you have to do. Is that where you have to proc the 999?
No, that is a little kind of side quest mini thing.
Yeah,
and is I'd hope at the level of the game that you're at that you're able to do that. Because again, do it with Mael, just, virtuoso stance alone should probably get you, because you have to do it as like a single person.
Right.
No, this is like Golgra, the Gestral chief, like she will like challenge you to a fight if you're willing, and it's pretty. She can pretty much one tap you. So it's it kind of demands perfection.
Yeah, I tried that one right after I won.
Oh yeah,
and it just immediately was one shot, and I was like, okay, I'll come back.
You try right away, and she just absolutely destroys you because she has like a phase change where she goes Super Saiyan, and it's even harder. But she's got a really cool kind of rhythm that once you get a hang of, it's like anything, it's not that hard. But there is also in a further level, although I think you've gone past this zone, or you're at least in the area. It's like it's near like the Minoko station. It's past a little bit past that. It's like in the snowy region. It's it's one of the Nevron quests that you do. It's not really a quest. It's more, this one is more a challenge, but it's like counted under one of the Nevron. It's one of the non-hostile Nevrons.
Yep.
And
love those guys.
It's just a parry challenge. You've got to parry like 15 times in a row with a pretty
yes. I think the guy that bashes his head, the one that, and then he gets a headache eventually.
No, it's one of the it's one of like the kind of, she almost looks like one of the, kind of like the dancer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't done that one, I don't think.
And she gives a basically gives her like cosmetic to, that's like the reward for it. And she gives her cosmetics. I forget if it's for Lune or CL that you get it for.
Right now I'm rocking,
but that's
the
like
beret.
That's a tough parry challenge.
Yeah, what did so combat is great. The story's fantastic. I will say, I don't think Mael's performance is my favorite so far. It's not that it's bad. I just don't. I'm surprised. I don't necessarily agree with her having won at the game.
I kind of want to like give like a no comment.
Yeah, I'm not far enough to fully make that judgment. So
kind of want to give a no comment just because things will potentially be recontextualized for you after you hit Act 3. I mean, I obviously really liked Ben Starr as Verso, and the, I mean, probably like the standout, if we're like being real, is Esquier is the, in terms of like the most like iconic from the role is Esquier. But I think across the board, the whole cast is really good.
No,
and
they're
really
all
strong.
they're all good. I really like Renoir too.
Well, Andy Serkis fucking nails it. That was the true criminal thing. If we're gonna, There's no shade on Charlie Cox, and I think Charlie Cox did a good job as Gustav. But if there should have been a third nomination at the Game Awards, and if they still wanted to do the Hollywood star power, to not give it to Andy Serkis was criminal. That 100% agree. He kills it, and he has some
he's fantastic.
He has some even better stuff in the end in the late game. Like some of his best.
He's a great villain so far.
Some of his best scenes are at the end too. So it's excellent.
Well, that explains
he's a standout, absolutely.
Yeah, he's great. I think my only real main critique is I just wish they had a little bit, some sort of fast travel in the overworld. It's just a little bit big once you've opened it up, and like I just would rather not.
But have you unlocked all of SKA's abilities?
No, he only can swim still.
So when you unlock more of his abilities, I mean, some of them are just like transitional things. Like you have the parts where I don't know if you've gotten yet where he can break past the coral.
I can break the coral. I can't go there yet.
Okay, and there's another one that shouldn't be surprised to any kind of classic JRPG.
He flies, right?
Yeah, he becomes the airship. That's the staple of the genre, and that's pretty fast. And I feel like the world is pretty fast to travel. I never felt
slow. It just is like I
never found it as an issue because like by the time you want to be like backtracking to go to some of the zones that were either you're underleveled for or that are now accessible. You have things like his flight, and it's quite fast to traverse, and it's so pretty to look at.
Backtrack at this point. I have been backtracking somewhat frequently.
Because to me it was like mostly. Well, I mean, if you think if it's no longer like red danger, you are way too low level for this, then yeah, sure, that is generally an indication that it's a good time to go check that out. But for the most part, if you're just exploring everything as it opens, it's not that far to travel each time.
That's true. It's only backtracking that it's
not an open world game, but it's not a linear game either. It is, but it has like this kind of set path that you're going on, and you're never going too far afield from one zone to the next.
And then the final thing though that I want to praise, actually, because I didn't praise it yet, is the build crafting.
Like the Lumina and Pictos, yeah.
And Pictos system is, I think, really cool. It's a fun way of changing your character and your build, and they're not insubstantial. Like they do make a huge difference.
What's your like core strategy from the Picto?
I usually go with either regen of some sort, so like parry heals, attack heals, and then the other one that I generally go for is like anything that makes you more powerful on attack. Those are like that's where I focus.
Yeah, like marking, basically in terms of like statuses and stuff that are good. Marking, burn is OP. You can like stack, get so anything that like is giving you benefits for how many stacks of burn you do is huge. But I'll give you my like kind of core one, which was really interesting, that you probably haven't found the Picto for yet. It was like kind of late mid game that I came across these. It was auto death and revive combo. So it would be at the start of battle, and I actually did it to a couple characters for different things, basically one to buff and the other to debuff. So it would be things like when you die, it applies shields, powerful marks things, some that like will automatically break the enemy or put them in the break state.
Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen that one.
Whole bunch of things that can trigger on death. So you just auto die. The pair, obviously, to make it really most effective, is to have the death and revive thing, so that they die. They die and they come right back. The revive only is like works for the first time they die. So it's burned right away, but like it's basically, you have your 3 party members, 1 or 2 of them automatically die, then come back, because there's also other ones that trigger on revive so similarly, that things that I'm triggering based off of death and resurrection, that's just applying all sorts of status effects, breaks, buffs. buffs, debuffs, all these things. That was like my go-to strategy until I got to my make Mael an absolute destroyer of worlds build, which was like basically similar things, like applying certain buffs and debuffs, like powerful or powerless and things like that, making sure that like turn order happens in the way you want, so that like CL can give double damage to Mael, who Mael is starting in Virtuoso stance, has all these buffs going to maybe hopefully get a mark on somebody, and then you just, you know, do one of her two crazy abilities and do 100, 300 million damage in one hit. To me, was always fun. At that stage of the game, it's like, I like that the option is there. You can choose to not do it, to like have the challenge of you know, fighting these crazy boss fights. And I fought some of the hardest ones, you know, engaged fully. But then it's just like, yeah, I'm engaging with the systems in another way.
Yeah, no.
I'm using my brain
for that. Yeah.
I'm using my brain to, like, the reward is seeing that number go crazy based off of this cool combination of, oh, I see these things, how can they interact? And so that was a different type of reward on its own. My one like complaint, and it revolved around the Pictos and Luminas, is if I had like one complaint, it's on the UI of those menus, of those two menus. It's like those could have been cleaner. There could have been better kind of filtering. They did exist, but they could have been a little bit better to make things a little bit.
Yeah, like the fact you can't sort by recent. I
feel like that should be an easy quality of life thing that they should be able to do. Yeah, that one's a little baffling. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the music. The music is so good.
Oh, the music's great. That goes without saying. The score is, the boss fight scores are bangers. They just put you in the zone. The music changes and you're just in it. And it's immersive. Their theme is always like well matched with the point in the story and various challenges posed by the boss in front of you. That's probably where I've enjoyed the score the most, is within those, hearing those changes and how they mix up some of the main themes of the game. And
they do some cool genre stuff too, like, and it is technically a boss fight, but when you have the playful bout against Minoko when you first meet him, and it just, his theme that just busts out the fucking power jazz.
Yes, the jazz is great.
It's incredible. You just have to stop, and that's why it's great that it's turn-based. You can just kind of sit back and just jam to the music for a minute. Who's your core party? Who's your main trio?
So for a boss, I'm rocking right now with CL, Verso, and Mael. But when I'm just walking around, I switch out CL for Minoko a lot, unless I'm trying to, and like it changes because I pretty much keep them all within a level or two of each other, but I put him in just so that I can try to get all his skills.
Yeah, that's what he never left my party once I got him, to make sure I was getting all his abilities. And what lovely feat.
He's great.
There was one that was like really tough that like I thought I had, because it's a trophy, so it's part of the platinum. Towards the very end, I thought I had screwed myself on that one. There's this one field boss that does give a skill, and it's I don't know if it's the one you're referring to, but it's the one where basically all he does is just bounce. He just bounces nonstop for like, 50 times in a row that you got to try to parry, and then he kind of just explodes.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, so that one is an interesting parry challenge now that you think about it that way. So he gives a skill. But so I beat that, I was, exploring. It was open, it was available. I could go do it. I beat it before I unlocked Minoko. And I thought I had lost the only opportunity to get that skill. It is not the only opportunity. That enemy appears in one other late game zone, kind of off to the side. You kind of have to make sure you go and find it.
I don't know if I beat that guy with him. I don't think I had him.
So yeah, it's like late game that I got that one. May have even been his last skill.
What did you rock for for the wardrobe, because I've decided I want to go Curtis Sliwa and have them all wear red berets, but I haven't found the last two.
I rocked those for a bit. I rocked, when I had them, the white versions of the expedition uniforms.
Oh, cool.
Like, I dabbled with the swimsuits here and there just for the funny bits.
Yeah.
There's a really, really funny Easter egg that it's like in a late game fight against Renoir. If your entire party is wearing the bathing suits, he will also be in a bathing suit.
That's good. I like that.
But I like those, and I like that they do them, and they're funny rewards half the time. You know, like you get the bathing suits at the Gestural Beaches, which
Yep.
I want your opinion on the Gestural Beach challenges. But for the most part, to me, those were just too silly, and they took me out of it when, you know, in a serious cutscene, to see them, you know, have a baguette over their shoulder and, you know, holstered like a sword, or to be in a Speedo, you know, kind of just took me out of it a little bit. So I generally went some version of the expedition uniform. I preferred the white ones, but there are some other kind of unique ones that are still more serious, and I rocked those for a while. Yeah, there are a couple that are based on bosses that you can find.
Yeah. I have them in the berets, and then they're in like the leather suits.
Yeah, I had Monoko and Verso in those a couple times, like kind of, they're like the leather tuxedos. I had them in those for a bit. I think it's criminal, the people that make Mael bald.
Oh my god.
I don't like that.
Ooh, that sounds
I don't like it when people do that one. But yeah, the Gestural Beaches, the intentionally really bad platforming.
So I've gotten the hang of it.
Uh-huh.
The first one I found, I spent about 20 minutes and was like ready to throw my controller. Then I got the hang of it. There seems to be, I was holding the jump button, and you pretty much have to, it seems like if you let it go, they have a better time at landing and like actually grabbing.
And like mantling, yeah.
Yeah, so that helped a lot. But I try it as soon as I start making progress, like substantially. If I fall, I'm leaving, and I'll just come back to it another time. I don't stay and try again, because
again, that is tied to a trophy if you are trying to go for the platinum. There is an ultimate challenge that is directly inspired by the. Do you remember like the meme game from like a couple years ago, Only Up, where it's just like nonsensical things just floating in the sky, and it's just, you're just going up in this kind of circle. There's one that's like, it's directly inspired by that, and it's insane, and has some really good troll moments. like you get up to the top, like where all the Gestrals are partying to celebrate you, and then there's a big hole in the middle. And I've seen plenty of people just like go up to talk to one of them, and then like you do the dialogue and then take a step and immediately get caught in like a little bit of geometry that's right there, and then fall down in the middle before they actually then go up the stairs to accept the reward and truly complete it.
I did that one, and I saw the hole, and I stayed as far away as I possibly could from it, because I was like, I will quit this game right now if I fall through that hole. Very funny. Got to be smarter.
No, I love how that's just like intentionally bad and frustrating. Those are really, it's supposed to be this like side activity. Let's have a little fun, and it's literally the hardest thing in the game.
But yeah, honestly, not much has made me sweat the way that those levels do. Once I get like kind of progressed into it, I just can feel the controller leaving my hands from the sweat between my skin and the.
So I've been surprised just like that you've been making like really good progress. I think like you've gotten like quite a ways into the game. Like I was surprised.
Yeah, it's grabbed me. Like there's been a couple nights where I've like work nights that I've been like, oh shit, it's 1 a.m. I really have to stop playing. So that's a good sign. That's
Decide
definitely-
definitively right now, is it a turn-based Souls-like?
It's nothing like a Souls game.
It's got some elements.
Of one, Sekiro.
It's got the flag system that, it's got bonfires.
Sure, but I don't even think of
it's
that
a
as like
checkpoint
a
system that is definitely
yeah,
not
exactly. Like
any
that's
other
the
game.
thing. Crash Bandicoot then had like
Crash Bandicoot is my favorite.
You're
Souls
right,
game.
actually. Crash Bandicoot, that is a Souls-like.
I was reading a profile in the latest Game Informer issue that was just like kind of talking about the history of and future of the Souls-like genre, and a big part of it was just an interview with Miyazaki himself, and he likes to claim that he tries to maintain his kind of humility to be like, yeah, we didn't really pioneer this. He doesn't like to think that they invented this genre, that they just kind of got lucky and had taken elements that they had seen everywhere.
Dark Souls takes a lot from Ocarina of Time.
But no, he got it from Crash Bandicoot. They did it first. That was the point. They're the real innovators there. The fact that they didn't interview those guys, criminal. All right, I think we've gone enough into that. Andrew, any final thoughts on, or have you been playing anything else as well? Has it just been Expedition 33?
It's been mostly Expedition 33. I have been actually spending a little time at the Switch just for,
man, if only they did a Switch Sports Resort. If only.
Yeah.
Man.
I thought they would. I'm kind of surprised that didn't happen. I was kind of
Don't
expecting
rule out resort expansion, Switch 2, extra $20.
upgrade. Yeah.
I bought for my brother-in-law, and basically for him to play with the nephews, I bought them Switch Sports for Christmas. That was my gift to him for Christmas, and they sent me a video of
a
my
Joy-Con thrown through a TV screen.
No, it was my eldest nephew doing the soccer one, so with the leg strap and him kicking the ball and having a good time.
Yeah. But that's about it. That's all I really.
All right, Matt. So you've been excluded up to this point because you have, but I don't feel bad because it's of
I was letting you guys have your fun.
I'm gonna say you've self isolated by choosing not to play the game. So that's on you, buddy.
Yep, and I will continue to choose to not play the game.
So go right ahead. And what have you been playing? And again, we can go as far back as December, because technically we did not do one of these game check-in ones.
If you include December, it was just all Night Rain in December for me. That's essentially all I did. I grinded the entire week of Christmas that I had off, beating the same 2 Everdarks over and over again to grind out sigils to buy all of the relics in the shop. Finished all the remembrance quests for the DLC. Beat all the DLC bosses. Nothing too crazy there.
Have you read anything about they recently added like a balance update?
Yeah, there was a fairly big balance update. Executor got a huge buff. Guardian got an okay buff. Revenant got an okay buff. No, but Executor, they had to buff him because Scholar ate all of his like real abilities, so making his ability sword stronger was a huge thing for that, and also buffing his ultimate for Depth of Night so that it doesn't die in one hit.
Does that only take effect in Depth of Night? Is this like a higher health pool or something?
Different depths have different scaling for his damage negation and attack. I think it goes up to 44% damage negation in the Depth 5. And then they made it so you can't die when you're using the claw attack that wipes out the ultimate.
What was the buff to the creature?
It's similar status where Depth of Night, her summons have scaling now. So
good.
They A, are more survivable, and B, do more damage.
Yeah, good.
Because after Depth 1, they pretty much died in one hit to anything. And it's like cool, the things that are meant to pull aggro and allow additional help. They also increase the damage of their ultimate abilities when she uses her ultimate. It was funny because everyone was joking. They were like, oh no, a balance patch is incoming. What are they going to do? It was like, they're going to nerf Beast Claw, the one thing that makes her fun. And they kind of did. It's like people freaked out when they saw increased Beast Claw FP consumption by 30%, but it takes it from 10 to 13. Not really a huge...
And with things that you can do for her, anyways, with some of these relics to make her FP bar fucking insane.
There was some fear people had they were going to get rid of the balancer stacking, but the only thing they did there was got rid of the balancer stacking with the duped balancer relic. Because if you beat the Everdark balancer before beating the regular balancer,
the exploit one that people were getting triple relics.
they were getting 2 of the same base balancer relic. Because if you beat the Everdark before beating the regular, you'd get both the regular balancer relic and then the Everdark one from the shop. And then you could go beat the regular balancer and get the balancer relic again. So you could have triple.
Did they just take one out of people's inventories, or
no? They just made
fix
it so
that.
that if you put two of the same in, one of them just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, okay, that was a weird exploit.
Seems reasonable.
Yep. If you were expecting that to stick around, you probably aren't using your brain.
Cheater.
But yeah, after Night Rain, I was soul searching for a little while. Thought I was going to play.
You dipped into a few things, right?
Yeah, I thought I was going to play Avatar, did it for about an hour, put it down. Thought I was going to play Metroid Prime, did it for about an hour, just wasn't feeling it at the exact moment. And then I found what I always end up finding, which is just put in another JRPG and threw an Octopath Traveler 2.
Put another 100-hour JRPG, please.
Yep. put Octopath Traveler 2 in the Switch 2, and enjoying it so far. I mean, I'm about 12 hours in. I've got my first party of 4 built out, at least, and they all synergize really well. They did a good job of, because it's 2 continents, and they did a good job of, wow, all these characters on this eastern continent all seem to have really good synergies with their like passive abilities. At nighttime, one of the characters buffs your party, another character debuffs the enemies. The scholar character points out weaknesses when you enter a fight for the first time.
Can you clarify something for me? Was this in addition to the Octopath Traveler 0, the new one, where you can actually have the 8 members fight together like this? They have like a front and a back line that can be kind of swapped
that's only in
between
0, and like I don't know if it happens in 2, but in 1, when you fight the true endgame super boss, they're not in the same part of the fight, but you have 4 of your party members fighting the top half of the boss and 4 of your party members fighting the bottom half of the boss. Okay. And it flips back and forth between
I could have sworn that, that was the case, that it was only 4 party members and the other ones, and that this was in addition to 0 because because of what used to be a gacha game. It was the first one that had more than 8 characters.
Yes.
I think you can recruit like 32 or something.
Yep. And in 2, there's still the 8 characters. They have their different chapters for their stories that you do. I've done the first 3 chapters of my first character, and then immediately speed blitzed getting to all the other characters on the continent to get their first chapters done. They did a quality of life change with this game where if you don't want to play a character's first chapter right when you meet them, you can just say, yeah, I'll hear that story later. Come on, we've got things to do. And they'll just join your party right away, and then you can go to a tavern and replay their starting chapter. I don't see the point in doing that, because if you do their starting chapter, gives them items, gives them equipment that you can find, it gives you levels. So like all of my characters left their starting chapters somewhere around level 8, which just makes them far more useful and survivable.
I don't know that I don't think I knew that it was as kind of non-linear as that you can kind of pick and choose which chapter of each
it'll show you on the map
stories
where the next chapter for characters go. And like for my thief character, she has 2 different chapter 2s that I can go to, and it gives you a different level recommendation. So it's clearly like, you should go to this one first because it's, recommending level 10. And then this one, because it's recommending level 17.
How long is each chapter? And then as a whole, like each character's story arc?
Chapter length varies. Like the opening section for the scholar, which is the character I started with, he has the longest opening because it's set like he gets framed for the murder of his family, and he's, stuck in an ice prison in a remote island. And so his first chapter
ice prisons.
Is breaking out of the prison. His second chapter is getting off the island. And then that starts his third chapter when you wash up on shore.
So if you're saying like, you can meet another character and, that quality of life thing of choosing not to engage with their first chapter, is it that you would then be like interrupting another character's whatever chapter they're in? And then you go right back to it, or
is always a solo chapter.
Also, is there like an overarching thing that all 8 are working through, that there is like a singular overarching narrative that then each individual character story is then part of? Or
I believe that's part of how 2 works. 1, they were all more singular. You know, you do one character, they'd have their story arc, and that was a complaint that people had, was that all the stories felt independent of each other and did not drive like a greater overall narrative. I think 2 adapts that a little bit. At least it seems that way based on the way chapters seem to be interspersed, where you go and there'll be another character in the town that you have another chapter in. Seems there's a little more connectivity there. I haven't.
Some RPGs, some Western RPGs do something similar to this, but like, JRPGs do this kind of pretty frequently, that like there'll be multiple party members that are gonna, eventually join the team, and maybe not as many as 8 from Octopath, but that it's like you can choose. Maybe it's just a choice between 2 in some JRPGs, but this one obviously you could, I guess, start with any of them. Does that person become like the main protagonist? Does the who you start as shape the?
There are changes and adjustments based on who you start with. It's mostly built around dialogue and the way people treat you and interact with you.
Like they're considered like the party leader or something?
More or less. You can't, at least in Octopath 1, I haven't gotten to a point where it would come up in Octopath 2, but in Octopath 1, you can't change out your starter until they've finished their story.
Yeah.
Which is why I made the choice to start with the Scholar, because my memory from Octopath 1 is that magic users are broken, and lo and behold, so far, he is very broken.
Because remember in like Live Alive that like, you do each character's story and then you get to the point where they've all converged and you've got to just pick one of them to be your party member and they can't leave. It's kind of similar to that.
Yeah, I've been having a good time. I've got my Scholar, my Thief, my Cleric. The Cleric is probably my favorite character so far, mostly because he's not like a good heavens, like evil things are happening and I am a good person. He's kind of a douche, and it's kind of hilarious. Like
I appreciate chaotic clerics.
Yeah, like in his chapter 1, you tote along like a paladin who came to the town on his like first mission to go talk to an archbishop, and you're just like trolling him the whole time by calling him like a lost little lamb, and he fucking hates it, and you just keep doing it the whole time.
In the last D&D campaign I ran, one of my players ran like a charlatan cleric, didn't really, would get by and would basically, he would be praying to whatever, like his kind of catchphrase or something was like, praise would, this god or whoever may be the prevailing deity in this region or whatever, that just trying to ingratiate himself to NPCs by feigning faith to whoever is the prominent figure, until eventually he had a come to Jesus moment of his own and saw God and just became insufferable.
I mean, that's generally how that works. So
it was such a fun character arc. I loved what he did with that one.
Something nice they've added into is characters have so they have path actions based on whatever their class is, and in 2 you get 2 different path actions, one during the day and one at night. So like during the day, my Scholar can like glean information from people by looking at them and just breaking down their disposition, but at night he just mugs them and steals their shit. The Thief can steal stuff during the daytime or assassinate and knock people out at night. The Cleric can guide people, like you can be like, follow me, my child, and just follow me into danger and just bring them into battle. But at night he can choose to fight them to take stuff from their inventory.
So all these nighttime abilities they just turn into thieves. They just all just turn into thieves.
Yeah,
thieves and cutthroats.
Yep. And then my last party member is a beast. I think her technical term is like she's a beastling. She's like a half beast, half person. She's a summoner. She brings in animals.
You're saying she's a furry?
Yes, she is absolutely a furry, and her master is a giant white lion. Definitely not Aslan.
A lion or a lion man?
No, a lion. Just a full-on big lion.
A lion man.
But I'm having a good time with it. I'm about to go over to the next continent because that's where I need to start doing second chapters, and I don't think I'm going to start recruiting more characters yet because I want to, get more built out with this current group of 4 that I have before I start, interchanging and throwing different people in and around. And then beyond that, I've also been playing Demon Souls because I've been going back to wrap that out and finish up the platinum. I'm almost done with playthrough 3. This morning, I just wrapped up World 3, so I just finished the old monk fight. I've finished 1 through 1-3, all of World 2, all of World 3, or 1, and now I'm gonna stop and go do all of World 5 because I fucking hate that world and I just want to get it done.
And so, are you being the sicko who does the world fully versus
I mean, I always
dipping
do
into each one.
I always do World 2 in full first because that gets you that's the easiest one to go through because you can get straight to Flame Lurker really fast, and then Dragon God is not a real fight.
But no, but Flame Lurker fucking sucks.
Nah, Flame Lurker's easy.
It wasn't for me when I went on my first go through, but I was still very much a noob.
If you wear the Thief Ring, his AI goes fucking stupid. The Thief Ring breaks so many boss fights that I didn't even realize, and it's very funny. Like, I did Man-Eaters this morning, and, Man-Eaters, so it can be a bit janky. There's 2 of them. The second one didn't show up till I killed the first one. Don't know why that happened. My first one got stuck under the bridge for 30 seconds. Depends how fast you kill him. It depends how fast you kill him. I didn't kill him very fast because he got stuck under the bridge for 30 seconds, and then because I had the Thief Ring on, he flew away and just kind of stayed out in the range, just sitting there for maybe another 45 seconds. I literally was just running back and forth across the bridge, just hoping he would come back.
So what does it do to Flame Lurker, though? What does it do to Flame Lurker that screws him up?
It just makes him, Flame Lurker likes to hit and then jump back, and if he jumps back and then you back out of his range, you just kind of forget you're there.
So you just can kind of circle around him or something?
If you can circle around him, it gives you breaks to be able to, heal, rebuff, whatever you need to do. I mean, there's a full-on cheese you can do where you can break his aggro and get him stuck on a pillar and then just poison cloud him to death.
I remember, he took me probably my most tries in that game.
I have died more to regular enemies than I have any single boss in my current New Game Plus run.
He probably took me the most tries, to the point where I attempted, someone had said oh yeah, you can get him stuck on a pillar or something, and I tried it once and was unsuccessful with that, so then went and beat him normally. But even saying he was my most difficult, the most difficult.
He's also turbo weak to magic, using a weapon that you can buff with light weapon kind of, which you shouldn't have when you fight him in base game.
I don't think I did. I was like a spell blade. I had that kind of hybrid magic.
Yeah.
Magic's sword stuff that, but I don't think I had that spell.
Yeah, that's one of the ones you get from transposing the penetrator.
I hadn't become bonk pilled at that point. That was my second Souls game. I played that pretty close after my first playthrough of
when I picked it up, I'd been using the Northern Regalia, which is the boss weapon you get for killing Old King Allant and fusing the Soul Brant and the Demon Brant swords, which has the highest base weapon scaling, because it scales off the character tendency.
Yeah, you're also doing New Game Plus, right? So yeah, to use Old King Allant's weapon at an early game boss, that's nowhere near the same experience as a base playthrough.
Well, I decided that I was going to stop using it this run, mostly because I'd already used it for an entire run before and kind of worked my way through. But it being a large weapon makes it stamina intensive. So I'm currently using the Blue Blood Sword, which is what you get for transposing Maiden Astraea, her soul. And it's a straight sword that scales regularly, but also has luck scaling. So it can get really stupidly high damage and it can be buffed. So when I buff it with light weapon, it does 30 less damage than the Northern Regalia, but I can get 8 swings per stamina bar versus 3 with the Northern Regalia.
My main weapon was a falchion. It was the
Crescent Falchion.
Yeah, the high magic scaling.
Yeah,
high in
the
scaling
Crescent Falchion you can find in, I think it's World 3 or World 2.
Yeah,
because they give it to you as a hint, hint, wink, wink. You should use this against Flame Lurker.
Yeah, I think that was my main one. That was my main weapon.
I've now successfully, I have all weapons. I got really stupidly lucky on a low drop rate gargoyle crossbow, because there's only 2 gargoyles that can drop it, and I got it in my first kill on the first one who can drop it.
And so what do you have left for the platinum?
I need to finish the Mephistopheles quest line, which I'm currently halfway through right now. She's a character who shows up when you have pure black character tendency and asks you to kill all the NPCs in the Nexus. I didn't think I was going to be able to get to it this run, because I didn't think I had enough inconsequential NPCs to kill to get to black character tendency, because I was already at pure white. But I went through, so I've killed like the Dregling Merchant in World 1, the Old Man Merchant in World 2, Dirt the Assassin in World 3, or no, he's in World 4. I killed the Royal Woman in the cell in World 3. And then I killed the blue depressed bitch in the Nexus, because he's not part of the quest line. But she basically she shows up once you hit pure black, and then asks you, like, you should kill Saint Urbane and all of his followers, and you should kill Sage Freak and all of his followers, and you should kill Patches and Bior and Ostrava.
I mean, yes, kill Patches. Kill that bastard.
I've got to kill Patches, and I'm waiting until I beat more of the run, because Patches is my grass dealer, and
yeah,
I'm not gonna take out the best grass dealer in the game quite yet. But that's so. Finish her quest line, that gives me the foes ring, that gives me all rings, that knocks that one out. And now I just have 3 spells left to unlock via Uria and Sage Freak. So I've already killed Sage Freak, because I knew I was going to have to get him in my next run to be able to get the 2 spells that I have left from him.
Can you say that again? You guys froze on my end. I'm sure it recorded fine, but I didn't hear what that was. What do you have? What do you have
so
to
I
go?
have 3 spells left that I need to get from Uria and Sage Freak. I already killed Sage Freak, because I accepted that I'm just going to do his next run and just get all the spells from Uria, so I don't have to free her again next run. But all the spells that I have left come from either the Old Monk or Maiden Estraya. And once I get those 3 spells, that gets me the All Spells trophy. That knocks that out. Then all I have left for platinum is help someone beat a boss, Andrew.
You'll get it, I promise.
I mean, if you don't, I'm just going to go to the subreddit and put someone summon me, and we'll kill Storm Ruler together. But then beyond that, I've set the secondary goal, because it's not linked to anything, but I'm going to get the Penetrator armor, which is going to take me a minimum of 2 additional runs past this one.
Why?
So you need 26 ceramic coins to be able to drop to Sparkly the Crow to get the key need.
Is that the ceramic coins was that a new addition to the Blue Point one, right? And is this the bit about, like, there's like the kind of hidden there's an illusory wall that you can get to that has a locked door. The only way to get the key is to drop 26 ceramic coins at Sparkly the Crow. They give you the key. You can only get 13 ceramic coins per playthrough, 7 with pure white world tendency and 6 with pure black world tendency. So the problem I'm going to run into is I can't get every world to pure black currently in one run, because I don't have enough Stone of Ephemeral Eyes, and I don't necessarily want to kill Maiden Estraya and then keep warping into her boss room to kill plague babies and hope that I can farm more stones. So I still don't fully understand I still never really understood, and still don't, the whole world tendency thing. I think kept pure white the whole time by killing myself in the necklace. And
you kill bosses, that moves you towards pure white. You die in body form, that moves you towards pure black. And when you're in pure black, if you kill the red invading phantom, that gives you +3 to move back to neutral. But there's also a primeval demon you can kill that's another +3. So there is a dance you can do where if you get every world to pure black and then kill both the red phantom and the primeval demon without warping back, you can get it back to, I think, 1 away from pure white. But I'm going to probably just keep all mine in pure white at the end of this run, get all the coins from pure white world tendency. It maintains world tendency when you go back in New Game Plus, so they'll all be pure white again. Get those on my next run, and then I'll roll into the next one, pure white it, and then I'll kill myself a shitload of times in human form to pure black to get the remaining ones that I need, so that I can wear the coolest armor in the game and heavy roll.
the funniest part of the game. You beat a boss. It puts you back into, bodily form. You get all your health back. You go, you talk to the maiden at Nexus, and then you just run up the stairs and jump off and kill yourself repeatedly, so that you're only fighting in spirit form. It's just so fun.
Yeah,
so fun to see the blood pools there too.
There's a genuine punishment for new players if you die in body form and get into Black World tendency, because red phantoms spawn in that are stronger, enemies are stronger.
Yeah, so you just it seems bad because when you're in spirit form, you've got like at least like a third of your health bar.
It's like 60%
junked.
Health. And
So
there's a
you
ring
just-
you can get that makes it like 75% health.
But then that takes up a ring slot, and I there are other rings that I like. But so yeah, you have to just learn to just treat your reduced health as your actual health cap. Once you get over that mental hurdle, you're okay.
Did they intend for you to play the game this way, or has it become the meta?
Kill yourself?
Yeah.
That's more meta, right? That's just more
Yeah,
just like
it's
just do that just to make
Yeah.
it easier on yourself.
I mean, ideally, you never die and you just stay
Yeah,
in
it's a-
human form, and you.
Yeah, it's a risk reward. It's designed as a risk reward system. But yeah, just kill yourself.
Yeah, you run up the stairs, you go past the first hallway, and then you roll off.
Matt, did you beat Neo?
No. The unfortunate nature of Night Rain came out, and it got popped out of my PlayStation.
Yeah, hard to keep those two running at the same time.
I can't run two action combat games simultaneously.
Yeah, that's hard.
That was what I was running into with problems with initially jumping back into Night Rain, was that I was jumping instead of rolling because that's the dodge button in Neo.
All right, so my turn. I was going back and looking at December. That adds a considerable number to the list of what I played, because there are a few that were actually 3 of them were, and technically a 4th, were really not long. I only played one long game. Let's see. I'll run through the list, and you guys tell me which ones you want to hear about. I know we won't talk about Skate Story because we're planning to talk about that as a group in February. So I played Skate Story, Trails in the Sky, the third, Consume Me, Before Your Eyes, which I don't know if you say, Andrew, you've probably never heard of that one.
No.
An interesting little thing that a large part of the gameplay is eye tracking. It is.
Eye tracking.
You play it with a webcam. With your webcam on, and things progress when you blink. And then Ace Combat 7 was my final game of December, which was also quite short, about 15 hours. But the other ones were like Before Your Eyes is like a single sitting game. Consume Me was like 8 hours.
That's
Skate Story 6 hours. Yeah, it's the life management sim about disordered eating, with this kind of really interesting cartoony art style. And then my main January game, which I just finished, was Avatar Frontiers of Pandora plus the From the Ashes DLC. And then I just started Yakuza Kiwami. So there's a bunch.
When did Kiwami come out?
Kiwami? Like the actual...
That's the remake of the original?
It's the
Is that
remake
what that is?
of 1, yeah.
Okay.
But it's after 0. It came out after 0 because it's, in a lot of ways, the things that they've changed and added make it almost a sequel to 0 in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but Kiwami 1 and 2 both got next-gen updates recently. Alongside their Switch 2 release.
They're kind of next-gen updates. I don't know that there's much difference to them. That's where I'm playing it. I bought the bundle. I bought the double thing.
Those come out on PS3 originally?
No, 4. Yeah, because they were after. Are you talking about the original games or
the original?
No, PS2. Yeah. Original Yakuza, yeah, it's PS2. But no, Kiwami was PS4. Again, it was after 0. But so again, a great little tie-in to 0 is when Kiryu in Kiwami sings Baka Mitai in karaoke. In all of them, when he does that, when it switches away from the karaoke thing and it's like him drinking sadly at the bar, he's always looking at a picture. Whoever does it, this is always how it plays out. They're looking at a picture of somebody wistfully, and it's who they're thinking about as they're singing this basically heartbreak song. And in Kiwami, it's the Pocket Racer fighter, the mascot from Pocket Racing from 0 is who he is singing wistfully about. So that's really good. I've been doing the Pocket Racer side story, but it's one that I think I'm either going to have to skip or come back to really later on, because the final step is like beating a really hard race, and I just like don't have the parts for it. Like my racer was just going off track on the first turn. Consistently, no matter how much I'm mashing circle to keep it. But yeah, no, I'm still pretty early in Kiwami. But yeah, so you guys tell me, which ones do you want to hear about?
I want to hear about Ace Combat. and I also want to ask, how much of the Yakuza series have you not consumed at this point?
It's a question of consumed versus played. I've consumed in some capacity all of it. I have not played actually the majority of it. I have not played at this point any of 2 through 6.
Okay.
I've played 7, 8, Gaiden, 0, now Kiwami. I've played the pirate one. I played Judgment. I have not played Lost Judgment yet. That's the only one I haven't consumed anything of. I don't know anything. I wanted to get into be up to date with the Yakuza, so I watched like the cutscene compilations of Kiwami 1 through 6 before playing 7. Now I'm going back and I'm playing them all.
Judgment actually in the same universe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Didn't realize that. I thought it was just
There's really no crossover in terms of characters that I know of. Like, Kiryu doesn't make an appearance. Majima doesn't. I'm trying to remember now if there was some of the kind of more outside Yakuza characters that did show up, because I think it's pre the dissolution of the 2 main Yakuza, because that's the end of 7. But it's it's in Kamurocho.
What's your favorite of the series?
It will depend on what criteria we go by. Story, I still think it's 0. I really like the story of 2. Again, I haven't played it fully, but I have experienced the whole story. I think the villain in 2 is one of the stronger. I love the trio of villains from 0. I think are still the best. And then gameplay is a different story altogether. And because there's also then you have to break it down by which type of gameplay. Turn-based, the 8 is the best. 8 is better than 7. There's improved features in that. In terms of like the brawler melee combat, the ones that I've played, I probably would say Gaiden is the best. I like the styles. I like the agent style in the secret agent style in Gaiden. Sub-stories, 7 has a lot of really good ones and a lot of now at this point iconic ones. Kiwami is really weak on sub-stories because it was before that formula had really kind of been set. A lot of them are like one and done. You come across somebody, it's not even a super interesting or funny character, and you fight somebody's harassing a woman in front of a host's club. You fight the guys, you pretend to be the bouncer, you fight them, it's done. That's it. So not a lot there. But yeah, 7 has a lot of kind of iconic ones. Gaiden side story thing is completely different. So yeah, it kind of depends. But like pure core, like the Yakuza melodrama story, 0 is the best to me still. Yeah, so Ace Combat. I actually wanted to look at this, and I'm going to Google this quickly. So I want to look at the history of the Ace Combat series compared to Armored Core.
Interesting.
These games are so similar in their construction. So it looks like first Armored Core was published in 97. Ace Combat was 95. Wow. So technically Ace Combat came out first. I obviously don't know how they have iterated on each other, how each one, grew. I don't know what the first ones were like. And I want to go back and I do want to try to play some more of the classic Armored Core.
They're available on PS.
Yeah, no, I have them saved on PS Plus, so I want to kind of give those a shot. Like, this game is extremely Armored Core coded on a lot of different criteria. It is obviously mission based, these kind of discrete levels that you're going into, and then you're by completing levels. In a lot of ways, you're almost incentivized. I was kind of complaining a little bit about it to you, Andrew, while I was playing. It ended up not being the case. I never replayed a mission beyond failing and having to redo it to beat it. I never redid a mission for extra credits, but it's essentially you never had to. I was able to progress far enough into the parts and aircraft tree to get a good aircraft that was good at enough things to cover my bases, but I didn't unlock nearly the whole tree. The whole thing, but like, so it's a parts system in that you complete a mission, you get credits of some kind, you take the credits into the parts shop basically, and you pick out aircraft and then parts to customize, special weapons, all that kind of thing. So then when you've got a mission that starts, you get a briefing, very much like Walter is giving you your briefing in Armored Core. But this one is even more specific, where it's like it'll tell you the general theme of the mission. You're going to face X number of this type of unit, air units, ground units, naval units. And some of them are a mystery. Some of them are like, we don't know who you're going to face, so be prepared for anything. But most of the time it lists what to expect. And so there are planes with different roles. Fighters, bombers, the kind of omni-role planes, which is the tree that I kind of essentially focused, things that can solve most things. And it was based on a little bit of research. It was like, okay, for a couple of these tough missions, you want to make sure you have a plane that has this special weapon. Like there's one that's like, you want to have this surface-to-air cruise missile. And another one, it's like it's helpful to have this plane because it has a multi-ground target thing.
Cool.
I used that plane a couple times. But then, I was eventually able to get pretty far down into that tree to get like a high-end omni-roll jet that like can pretty much handle almost anything. So then you have a customization element where along this tree you can find different parts, and largely I was kept to, I'm just picking the parts that are on the line that will let me get to the next plane that I'm targeting. But if you were playing it enough, or playing the online version that also will give you credits that you can go into the tree and unlock parts that way, you can get even more kind of granular with the part customization. And it's like you've got like your body, which will affect maneuverability and stuff like that. You've got weapons and different things like that. But
cosmetics?
You unlock them, and I don't think you can use, I don't really know, I never saw a place to implement them in the campaign of your first playthrough. You obviously can do that in multiplayer. But yeah, those were some rewards that were unlocked pretty frequently. So the one thing I would assume, again, with only playing the last Armored Core, I would assume that this was a quality of life thing that they introduced in Fires of Rubicon, that like to encourage experimentation and to kind of cut back on the need to farm earlier missions for credits, on how you could sell, you could refund your parts and go completely elsewhere. And this also being a tree is different than just a parts list. The tree would be like, you can't unlock this thing until you have unlocked the things earlier on the tree, right? So that's it. But yeah, once you spend and buy something, it's gone. That's it. So you kind of have to know what you need to get as you go in, or you could kind of screw yourself and have to farm missions. And like, I was complaining to Andrew at like the kind of early mid-ish point where I was hitting one of these kind of roadblock missions that's like, you have a time limit, you got to just rack up points to progress, and I was just like really close each time but not close enough. And I luckily had enough credits to go into the tree and get this like bomber plane that had that multi-ground target bomb. That is what then let me progress that. Like I just scraped by with being able to unlock that thing. And it was because early game missions aren't giving you crazy credits. Obviously, this is another similarity with Armored Core, and is if you're going for the trophy hunting aspect of it, you're trying to S rank missions, and the better you rank, the better you perform, the more credits you get. But in like that early to mid game, the rewards are not very high, not enough to really make a whole lot of progress. But then once you get past that mid game kind of hump, rewards go up exponentially. you're going from like at best like CK credits, which is like not a lot in terms of what things actually cost, to 150, 200 credits per mission, which is, will definitely, it balanced out in the end. It just made for that kind of middle point a little hairy. But yeah, so that was like my one kind of complaint. But it's an interesting parallel to how similar it is to Armored Core and a lot of those things. But with the exception of some of those hurdles of, yes, just you have a timer, rack up this number of points. And it was really only that first one that kind of pissed me off. There was another one later on that I did have to try a couple times to get, but was pretty cool because it's more, you're taking out these, I don't know if they call them docks, but like there are these like kind of water, they were these like platforms in the water that they're like, kind of runways that planes could be taking off from. And what you need to be, there's all sorts of things on top of them that are little points here, like a surface to air, a SAM site, an AA gun, radio tower, that are giving little points here or there. But what you want to do is making sure you have equipped this cruise missile, and you have to approach from a certain angle to get it, is you want to highlight the platform core itself so that you bomb out the core and it takes down the whole thing, and you will get all the points for everything that was destroyed from the one hit versus just attacking the little annoying things on the top and wasting your limited special ammunition. So it made that mission more tactically interesting, and that's where the game like truly kind of became so interesting, beyond what I think it does successfully with a really kind of unique and nuanced take on like, your military campaigns, the story, that I think had a little, I will say, if I had to critique, had some issues with probably its localization, that it's like some of the things don't quite translate, that like it feels a little bit odd. The words that they're saying feel a little odd at times, but I'm forgiving of that. But these mission structures are fucking awesome. Like, they start off kind of basic, but then they get some really, really cool ones. I know I mentioned this one to you, Andrew, while I was playing. There's this one where you don't get to choose your special weapon, and instead you have a laser targeter. And what you're doing is you are guiding bombers to deploy bunker busters on these missile silos. And it can be really hard because you have to approach with other things like, shooting at you. You have to approach these sites slow enough because you have to keep your laser on the missile, on the silo part. If it moves a little bit off, the bunker buster will miss and the site won't be destroyed, and you've got to do it again. So it's like took some real precision in these moments, and there are some dummy sites, and it's not like randomly generated or like procedural in this way. There are 3 seeds that this mission has. There are 3 routes that it could take, and some people have listed it out. Like on Reddit, there was like a list. It's basically just like, go here, it's almost guaranteed to be a real missile site. You go to this next one. If it's fake, you're on this route and you go this way. If it's real, you're on one of the 2 routes. Then you go to this one and it will then further deviate. And you will then you will at some point know which route you're on, and you know which ones are real and which ones are fake. And you take those down, and it's a really kind of fun mission in that way. But then you've taken down these missile sites, and then you hit a checkpoint, and it's like, oh no, we somehow missed 2. Two ICBMs have launched. You got to chase them down, and you are chasing after them into the fucking stratosphere, and you have to shoot down these warheads. Sick. And it's really fucking sweet. There's some really cool visuals. So like what's the main like core of the main armored core? The main core of the story revolves around it's this renewed conflict between these continental powers, and it's like it's not a real world. It's a alternate world. They've got different country names, but basically one is basically Eurasia is basically one of them. But so one of the side that you're fighting against is and this ties into kind of one of its core themes that it's interrogating, is one of them is basically implementing exclusively drones. So it's advanced warfare. And that's questioning the morality of truly dehumanizing war to the extreme, where where what happens to the people caught in the midst of when war is trivialized to the point where one side doesn't have an actual human cost to it. The civil casualties are overlooked because we can just continue this war, to infinity, because whatever, it just costs us. We got to just put more drones into the factory, and you go and you build them.
Hey, GDP increasing.
Yeah, it's just limitless warfare. But it's got this really fucking cool visual in that you're targeting these arsenal birds. They're these enormous aircraft, huge fucking aircraft with like the five propeller things on the back. They're enormous. They're huge. Sick. They're so cool when you see them. And they all have, like, the drones like deploy from the bottom. They're like these futuristic, like, next gen drone fighters. And it's like that these drones are really like high tech, and they're being trained off of the flight data of this like legendary pilot who's like kind of been coerced into doing this, and he serves as like the main boss that you fight at different times throughout the campaign. And then you've got to take down the arsenal bird in a late this last bit of data. Actually, I think it's the data that was then trained off of you, the player. When you finally take down this guy, you're like the new Apex fighter, and there's like, if these drones are able to upload this new data, the war is doomed. Like, it's the war effort's doomed. Like, talking total annihilation. They managed to keep these missions. They keep the drone data from being mass produced, but then there are these like two drones that have the data, and they're racing to the space elevator thing to get into high orbit to distribute the code everywhere, and you've got to chase them down, and it's really cool. Again, another really cool mission that I like overlooked was before that. That's like the final mission that I was just describing. So there's this other cool mission where you're dealing with like rebel forces from one of those other factions, so you don't know who's friend and who's foe. So you have to you got to get danger close to ID them, and you will like be it's like also like an escort mission, and so you're IDing who's an ally and who's not, and you've got to like again be like focused on them long enough for their ID to register, and it's pretty challenging. It's a night mission in like a city. There's some really cool stuff. There's some really, really cool stuff.
How do the controls feel? Did you like the combat from that perspective? Did it feel tight?
So there are two, from a controller, from a gamepad, there are two control schemes. Like, there's an expert one that is more about like pitch turning. That's harder. That's definitely much harder. And then like a more standardized one that's, it's easy. I had to go into after the first mission, I had to go in. It was actually kind of hard to find. Flight controls were inverted, or their version of it was inverted to me, because it simulates a flight stick in the sense. I get why they do it that way, but my brain just doesn't work in that fashion. So VR is a big thing for this series. So you could do this in VR, which I'm pretty sure would be cool. But there also is an option to play with a flight stick. And I honestly, I'm thinking like that could be kind of cool. That could be pretty damn immersive to play with a flight stick control.
Have you looked at what those cost?
No. And maybe
they can be really cheap. They can also be really expensive.
Yeah. Figured.
Yeah. If you get into like sim grade territory, they can be real expensive. But I don't know, maybe when 8 comes out, if it's good, which that's upcoming. So I'm now on board. I'm an Ace Combat fan now.
Right.
I'm
definitely going to play this soon.
I will play 8 when it drops this year. I'm excited for that one now. But yeah, Andrew, it's like, what did it take me? It actually took me even less than I had said before. Okay, it was 15 hours. Yeah, it's 15 hours. And, it's being this mission-based thing, you do a mission a night.
Yeah.
It's conducive to shorter play sessions. The one thing, though, the checkpoint system fucking sucks. It's bad. But understandably so. Like, I understand. Yeah. I like, logically, I can't really think of, they should have put the checkpoint here instead. It's just more like, it feels punishing, but like I can't logically think of another place to put it. Yeah, so that's Ace Combat 7. Skies Unknown. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed it. Little bummed I didn't get to talk about Avatar because it was a unique experience. Matt was trying to claim before that he is Jim Cameron's strongest soldier, but apparently not. apparently he's a coward.
I don't know. I bought it at full price. How much did you pay for it?
$5.
That doesn't sound like a soldier to me.
Yeah, but you're just giving money to the French, not to Jim.
Jim gets money from that. I guarantee you. Guarantee you there's licensing involved.
No, there is. It's in collaboration with Lightstorm. So, but
is the narrative good? Okay.
But like that's not why you play it, and that's like not why it's like enjoyable. But here's the thing. The From the Ashes DLC actually made me like the story and the characters from the original game more. Like I was largely ambivalent to most of the characters from the base game, including the main character is kind of a dud in the base game. And a lot of that happens just like how they are telling the story. And a lot of that comes down to it's because it's all first person cutscenes. It's technically kind of a cool thing. They're all in-engine, not pre-rendered, story scenes, but like it's all just first person stuff, whereas they're real third person cinematic cutscenes in the From the Ashes DLC. But like it makes you care more about that kind of core group of the Sarentu clan characters that you are part of from the original. And it was like astounding how it's like, yeah, I was kind of just like, don't really care. Pretty kind of meh on the story from the base game, like more comically evil than even like Scoresby from Way of Water.
Hilarious.
It's like Disneyfied in a lot of ways that like don't feel great, and there's plenty of like Ubisoft bloat in it. But like I ended up liking the game a lot and liked the DLC even more, and the DLC made me appreciate the base game even more. And I know it's effective. I know it's effective. It is effective as an Avatar story because it gave me the Avatar depression when I was done. It gave me the post Avatar depression that I have after watching one of the movies. So it was effective. But like the DLC was so good that the expansion was so good that it like I bumped my review score up like a whole point. It's like a very, very 7 out of 10 game, the base game, because it's like there's some things I really like the survival crafting part of it. Astounding to me. That part is so immersive, but then the story and stuff just kind of, brings it down, and the bloat half of the activities bring it down. But then the DLC is very strong. Yeah, folks, if you are enlisting in the James Cameron starter car, now is a good time to play Frontiers of Pandora.
Yeah, after the studio just laid off a bunch of people.
Yeah, they're not going back to that well anytime soon, though. They're just doing the Division from now on. All right, folks. Yeah, we went a bit long. We each had a good amount to say about our respective games that we've been playing. All right, so yeah, we'll be back with gaming news next week. That's going to be an interesting one, just because like not a lot has happened. January is kind of a dead period for most things, although I think the Xbox developer showcase will have happened at that point, so maybe there's something.
Fable.
Maybe Fable is coming out, and we'll have maybe they shadow drop New Vegas remake. Who knows? All right, folks, but you'll have to pay attention next week for all of that. Till then, you can follow us on all the social medias. You know the drill. We will see you next time. Bye bye.